So this right here. This was one of the most important McKinley playoff games in a long, long time. This year has the highest expectations that we've seen in a while. So yeah, let's talk about this year's McKinley Bulldogs.
Around 23,000 at Foxley. Here comes pressure from the outside from Daly, and Morgan Williams has got daylight.
Eric Glover Williams.
For the last 2 years, I've made preseason videos for both McKinley and Massillon. For Massillon, I talked about upcoming games and where they were at currently with their program. For McKinley, I discussed how they were celebrating the anniversaries of past state and national title teams. I realize now that by glorifying the past, I essentially dropped the ball in those videos because I didn't talk about the current Bulldogs one time. So let's rehash real quick for those two teams I dropped the ball on, and then we're going to get to this year. McKinley in 2022 started off 0-4, with 3 of those 4 games being extremely winnable. It would have been so easy for everyone to just call the season over right then and there. But instead, McKinley turned things around and won the next 5 straight to make the playoffs and win a first-round game, only to lose in the second round, but that was once again a very winnable game. The following season in 2023, McKinley seemed to win the games that they were supposed to early on. The 3 losses McKinley did take in the regular season all had to do with not really getting the offense going, and 2 of those 3 losses were to 2 teams that made the D2 state semis. One of them won state, and then the 3rd loss was to Glen Oak, who was in the middle of a program redefining season. Yes, a 28-7 loss to Avon at home looked bad on paper, but McKinley was 1 dropped deep pass from making it a tied game at 14 in the early 4th quarter. The wheels fell off after that. Coaches were quoted saying the offense couldn't get going, which left the defense hanging after such a great performance. The offense couldn't get it going against Glen Oak or Massillon, and the team paid the price. But McKinley won their first second-round playoff game in a long time by beating Ignatius. So here we are in 2024. This is really where I need the fans to pay attention and listen to what I have to say, because this year's McKinley team is absolutely loaded on both sides of the ball, more so than most years I personally remember. McKinley has 3 running backs that could start on any team in Stark County, and I mean any team. They have a quarterback who has made his journey to Canton all the way from Texas and seems to be ready to lead the team. They have a good receiving core led by a senior wide receiver who not only led the team in receptions and yardage last season, but also led the team in interceptions. McKinley has a defense that gets the ball quick and puts opponents on edge. Cleveland Heights was one of the top teams in the state last year. They will be this year, and they also have the guy who everyone thinks will win Mr. Ohio football. They struggled a bit against McKinley. It was just a scrimmage. They only played 3 quarters, but Cleveland Heights jumped out to an early 13-0 lead, and then McKinley scored 27 straight to win the scrimmage after 3 quarters of play. Now, Cleveland Heights was close to the goal line at the end of the third and essentially ran out of time. It could have been a 27-20 game going into the fourth had it been a real game. But nonetheless, McKINLEY is looking impressive. So much so that some journalists think that they have the most loaded roster in the state. In the preseason top 25, McKINLEY was ranked 22nd in the state out of 719 schools. And they even earned a single vote for the number 1 ranking. That person could be from the repository. I don't know who votes these things, but somebody somewhere gave McKINLEY the nod to be number 1 in the state. So if you're a fan who has shown up here and there throughout the years, or if you're a fan who no longer goes to games for one reason or another, or if you're a fan who is looking for the right team to go watch, this is it. It's time to get asses into seats. Our current McKINLEY Bulldogs are playing in a $170+ million double-deck stadium and have yet to receive the crowds that everyone older than them remembers. The McKINLEY I grew up watching had 10,000+ people at every game. If you're someone who doesn't go to games right now because of past controversies, you are doing far more damage than any of those controversies ever did. You cannot convince me that 10,000 people on the home side of the field wouldn't make a difference in some of those losses last year. It's time to give these kids the spotlight they deserve by showing up and making some noise. There was a good crowd for the Cleveland Heights scrimmage. That was the first thing I noticed. There was actually more people at the scrimmage than there was for the Ignatius playoff game last year. Now, I'm a firm believer that no one outside the locker room cares more about the team winning than anyone inside the locker room. Here's some words of motivation for the current players that I just think needs to be heard. Let's start here. This is me in 6th grade in 2006. Yeah. This was my favorite player at the time. Former McKINLEY superstar running back Morgan Williams. He leads the school in all-time rushing still. Now, I know we live in a time where pointing out differences can seem counterproductive, but I think we all can agree that I don't look like Morgan Williams. I never played football, so I didn't grow up wanting to be like Morgan Williams. He was just my favorite player on my favorite team. Now imagine being a 6th grader and you actually look like your favorite player and you play football, and so you want to be like your favorite player when you get to high school. My point is, you are some little kid's favorite player. Every crazy catch you snag this year, or every juke stick move you pull off, little kids are watching and thinking about how they just want to be like you. So when you put on your jersey, whether it's at practice or before a game, you are not just representing yourself, your team, or the school. You are representing an entire culture. You are representing every last person who came before you for the past 100 years. The list is literally too long for the video. We're talking NFL players, guys who have won Super Bowls, guys who have coached Super Bowls, Olympians, NBA players, rap artists, soul artists. The OJs formed their group in 1958, according to Google, and they still have their songs played all the time on advertisements and television shows. They're still getting paid. This isn't Perry. This isn't Glen Oak. This isn't Akron. This isn't Cleveland. This is Canton McKINLEY, a name known far and wide. You are the most historic high school football program ever.
Y'all boys thought y'all was gonna go without hearing from Big T Jones. Hey, look, man. McKINLEY, all we got to do, man, we got to get stronger up front, baby. We got a lot of skilled guys, man. We got a lot of boys that we can get the ball to. Defense is solid. Solid. We just got to, you know, work out some of the kinks, man, and we're going to be ready to ball, man. Dog check.
If you want to watch my favorite McKINLEY video I've ever made, click here. If you want to watch last year's games that I filmed, click here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this video to everyone you know, because everyone needs to see this and hear this. And as always, thanks for watching.